Hey, this is another reading post the last reading, and it's talking about your happiness and your adventure. You know, how's life? How's your happiness treating you? How's your newfound journey treating you? Right? I decided these cards are folded over because it's really centered around these three cards that's folding down, and I decided to do a soul growth reading for anyone who's resonating with it. So I'm gonna put the phone down because I have channeled messages too. And I'm gonna tell you what all these crystals are too. Aren't they pretty? Yes, it's a lot of color right here. After I channel all the messages and tell you what these cards mean, because they kind of help describe, I would say help describe what the channel messages are. They kind of amplify on what those messages were. And I'll tell you what all these cards represent to me. Okay? And then we get started with this soul growth because all of these cards are going to center around those three cards. Okay. Okay, the first crystal I got, I'm going to start from my left to my right, is fluorite. That's organization. Clear priorities, structure can provide freedom, and fluorite it helps organize your life from top to bottom, heightening focus and releasing unnecessary stress. You know, assisting with bringing clarity into your life, lifting your mental capabilities for crystal clear intuition and empowered decision making by taking your discernment up a whole notch. It protects against bad influences and psychic manipulation. It both grounds and lifts your energy, and it connects your body to earth and to higher spiritual awareness at the same time. So it prioritizes balance a lot. Interesting. The next one is watermelon tourmaline, which represents love, balance, and clarity. Relationships are the currency of life, and this stone raises awareness of the soul agreement. It raises awareness of soul agreements and your impact on other people's life. This crystal is supercharged to activate the heart chakra. It's creating a divine connection between you and your higher self. Like the watermelon, it teaches you to enjoy the sweetness of life. Remembering good things often take time to ripen. Watermelon tourmaline balances masculine and feminine energy, connecting your heart chakra to both the physical and spiritual aspects of your life. That caters to, I see Seven of Pentacles when I was reading that card. To the first card I showed you was duality, and I'm gonna explain what that card means after I finish with the crystals. The next one, Lepodolite, transition, release, change. So change is coming, and this stone is the perfect crystal to help you with those transitions by becoming aware of bad habits and patterns. We can release them to make room for new ones that sustain a healthy lifestyle. Lepodolite helps us let go of attachments to old behaviors and addictions, clearing away emotional ties to the stories we tell ourselves. It also encourages self love on all levels, even if we need to step away from our current way of doing things to establish that trust. You know, it's about you want to write the story you want to live. Beautiful. I see why this particular set, all these cards are from a different deck too. I see why they're here now. The next one is Rose Aura Quartz. Heart's Desire, Love, Divine. So the energy of love vibrates on a soul level, penetrating the body through its many layers of tissue all the way down to the cells. And the Rose Aura Quartz is a crystal of love with the ability to shift one's senses of self, provide nourishment for your growth, and transform fear and doubts into unconditional love, creating a strong bond to the universe, or to God, in my case. It creates a synergy between the pineal gland, locating in the brain and associated with your third eye, and the heart chakra, infusing your intuition with space to give and receive more love. Beautiful. And the next one is Rainbow Obsidian. It represents hope, depth, evolution. Within the darkness, there is always light. And with this stone, its dark exterior is exposed in the light. With the colorful band highlights the stone's beauty. And this is a gentle stone, showing you unhealed matters of the heart and bringing hidden wounds to the surface for ultimate healing. It takes you on a journey of evolution, of opening your heart and discovering your true purpose in this life. Able to assist in cutting cords, this stone floods you with light and love, forgiving yourself and others in the process. I know that's right. Nobody wants to be held back by fear. And finally, this pretty orange crystal is called citrine. It's about creativity, happiness, and manifestation. A powerful and energizing stone, citrine derives its warmth from the rays of the sun and shines positivity wherever it's needed. Like vitamin C for the soul, citrine works its magic on both physical and emotional levels, transmuting negativity into light filled vibes and positivity. A great stone for enhancing one's prosperity as well. Citrine magnifies your creativity to inspire manifestation, known as the light maker. It encourages fresh beginnings, new ideas, and living life to the fullest. Accept the abundance that is coming your way. And that's the energy I got from these cards, from the messages I got. Okay, the first card is duality. It represents many meanings, many understandings, and it really talks about the dual nature we have: our masculine energy, feminine energy, physical, ethereal, human, and divine. Purposely, this is someone whose knowledge extends past the tangible. It extends past having a PhD. You also have knowledge of the spiritual realm as well. And then the next card is Anna, grandmother of Jesus, seated, and that's about seeding the light and laying foundations. And what this card represents is about it's a quiet dedication that is sometimes required to live a full life of service. And this is a card that represents generations that came before that devoted their lives to dreaming a new world into being, while knowing that they would not see the glorious end result. So it's like, if you think about your ancestors and all the work, the foundation that they laid out for us moving forward. So a lot of doors have opened for us because of our ancestors, and that's what this card represents. It teaches us that we all have a part to play in a divine plan, and it doesn't have to be on the world stage to be significant. One person's part is not more worthier than another. One person's part may be to mother their children. Another's could be to gather women in a circle each month. No part is better or worse, more important or less significant. We each within us have have a seed of light that we incarnated, and we're meant to share it. And we have to surrender to what the purpose is, our purpose is, for being here. So the part part is surrender to the sweetness, and that's about your Venus energy, pleasure, joy, making love to life. And that's operating from your feminine energy, which it amplifies the first card about duality. One thing I didn't get to say was, if you're a person who operates in your masculine energy, it's kind of foreign when you start to balance out your feminine energy and you start to operate in that way, in that aspect, or just being practical and you're trying to adapt to being more spiritual. It feels unnatural because that's not your way at first, but you have to work at it. You take it one day at a time. So then you have the Kundalini card from my yogic path, and that's about serpent power. It exists in the base of your spine, and it has awakened. And you may have noticed that you feel more spiritually aware than ever before, that you're more sensitive to energies and quickly manifest your thoughts. And all your psychic abilities are rising, and you feel the flow of the energy that vibrates in everybody. And your heart is full of a deep compassion and desire to serve others, and you have a keen awareness of your purpose. That's a Kundalini rising. But it's important to stay grounded, as you're having this process. And there's these spiritual ascensions. You can do practices like journaling, do yoga, exercising. Some of us have been working out more. to balance it out, because it heightens your nerves in a lot of ways. Connect to nature. You're able to experience, the awakening better. That takes you where you're meant to be, because it makes all your nerves like a cat. You ever see the nerves heighten on a cat, where they kind of stand on their tippy toes and all their hair sticks up? That's what it feels like to me. And then you have, for my spirit junkie deck, there's no such thing as a mistake. Everything happens in divine order. I'm being guided to learn and grow. Lastly, I have cards from my inner goddess deck. All good things are wild and free. All good things are wild and free. And I have Gelato Goddess next to that. So being wild and free is important. Your heart was never meant to be tamed. You're following a truth, even if it doesn't make sense to you or anybody else. And even if your mind and your logic, and all your logic is telling you all kinds of fears and doubts, all the what ifs, you still shouldn't ignore, what your spirit is telling you, what your heart is telling you. You should go with it. It's always truthful. When you allow yourself to be true to yourself, it will show you how to create, a contribution to this world that fills you up. It's nothing but joy and peace. And you shouldn't be ashamed of it for how you feel, or be persuaded that you should do things differently. Your heart, one thing about the heart, it has a wisdom that's beyond logic, the logic of the mind. And it's its own creative genius. It has a unique way of reframing problems, attracting solutions, and it empowers us to bring our dreams to life. You wouldn't be where you are, if you wasn't operating from your heart space. And if that's not true, if you're not operating from your heart space, then you could be stuck in transition. That's not something anybody can afford. And some may be afraid, of wild freedom of the heart. But I'm not getting as this person. Your mind may not always understand what your heart feels, and it guides you, and the way it guides you. But the world needs you. Whatever you have to offer, you should. Whatever your heart's telling you what you should be doing, you should be doing it. Okay? And Gelato Goddess is someone who has 10,000 flavors. That's many layers and many depths to them. They're not a surface level person. There's many levels to this person. And sometimes we cross people's path where they may pick one mass to the conglomerate and attempt to persuade you that this is who you are, all of who you are, all of who you should be. And it threatens your sense of self-worth or in your direction of life. No one can tell you what your path is, because they're not God. So, this is talking about the delicacy of having care of who's taking advantage of you as a resource. Everybody's voice, shouldn't be loud. Nobody's voice should be louder than yours. And that's blunt. I hear, the root words was Sagittarius, independence. It's about what Sagittarius represents: independence, spiritual growth. Ninth house. I hear Tina Turner, I don't really want to cry no more. I hear Tears for Fears, that group, the 80s group. Everybody wants to rule the world. Being in alignment with your higher purpose. I hear Brian Scott, he has a meditation where it talks about large sums of money comes to me easily and quickly, increasingly, from multiple sources, on a consistent basis, with the best interest of all that I get to keep. If I messed it up, that's the gist of it. I hear Jill Scott, A Long Walk. Her lyrics, your background: it ain't squeaky clean. Shit, we all gotta swim upstream. You ain't no saint, we all a sinner. But you put your good foot down, and makes your soul a winner. I respect that. And then, and also she references the Quran, Luqman 31:18. Do not speak to people with your face turned away with pride, nor walk proudly on the earth, for God does not love any self conceited boaster. That's what I got. I also got New Orleans, French Quarter. So I think that's why I heard the word excited. I hear a lot of adventure. I hear happiness. I hear you broke free from something. Now you're walking in your divine purpose. I hear this person's walking in their divine purpose. I also hear this person separated or detoxed a lot of negative emotions, a lot of outdated beliefs. I hear that this person separated from all of people, places, things that doesn't serve you. I hear that there are people who are trying to energy harvest off this person, but they're blocked. I hear that as this person's getting better and better and better in whatever it is that makes them happy, because they're doing what's making them happy, so their life doesn't feel like work anymore. I mean, I'm sure you have a way to make a living, but it stopped feeling like work at this point because you're in alignment with who you are and who you're supposed to be and what you're supposed to be doing. French Quarter is a party town, celebration, heightened spirituality, for better or for worse. In this case, I think it's light more than it's dark. I don't think it's dark, but where I think, New Orleans represents dark spirituality and light spirituality, but the whole world, the whole United States represents dark spirituality, or their watered down replica of it, as well as light spirituality, because we all come from somewhere different, and it's in many of our cultures to be spiritual. So I don't feel like any of this is a mistake. It's all divine preordainment, and you're meant to learn and grow, spiritual growth. That's why I keep hearing that. That's why I heard that. And then when I flip the card, it says I'm being guided to learn and grow. So you could be guided to venture out. That's why I hear Sagittarius, spiritual growth. Sagittarius about adventures, about independence. They're about seeking inner wisdom, ancient wisdom. They're about learning. This is somebody who will travel to Rome to visit the old churches, just to get in that energy and just learn, just read, just being in that space and adapting to that energy and like that ancient wisdom. Everybody's blood, sweat, and tears that made it that moment for you to go there and just visit that church that's like probably 500 years old, just give or take. It's just the knowledge of it. Like, most people are into visiting these foreign countries on surface levels, just to say, oh, I went to Italy, I went to Paris, I went this place, I went to Africa, but they're not spiritually connected with the trip. They didn't learn anything. Like, what did you learn while you were there? What is your purpose for going there? Why do you feel like you're driven there? Why that place over everywhere else? And like, how are you being spiritually guided moving forward? Stuff like that. So this book, these cards, these are my astrology cards, and I'm using them. I'm supposed to read the book with them because I haven't connected with them all the way, but I'm doing it now. So I like where it's taken me so far with these cards that and stones that are surrounding it. So we're going to look at them together. Let's start with this one. The first card is going to represent what I'm learning. The second card is going to represent how am I learning it. And the third card is going to represent where will the wisdom take me. You got square, a challenging situation, and a mountain to climb. All right, let me find square. A square occurs when two planets sit 90 degrees away from one another. This is the most challenging dynamic to work through because it implies both an internal and external struggle. There are not only energetic blocks but obstacles experienced in the world. And it's vital to identify and support the squares in the chart because if abandoned, this aspect can become a dooming self fulfilling prophecy. Internally, squares create feelings of confusion, conflict, or even paralysis in their energetic realms. And these blocks are magnified by outside events, which seemingly conspire to reinforce the challenge. Understandably, you might feel destined to fail in the face of a square, but you have to persevere with courage. The journey through the sludge becomes your greatest teacher and leads to even greater rewards. And while squares require lifelong nurturing and working with their energy, you discover your biggest opportunities for growth, achievement, and alchemy. So it's challenging. That's the energy of it is a challenge. I don't get Sinowan's challenge, but the experience is a mountain to climb, so maybe. So the omen is saying you're being called to deepen your strength and perseverance through a challenge you face and remain present through painful moments, asking, what are you here to show me? No shortcuts, no easy way out, no falling back into old familiar habits. You're being summoned to rise up. This challenge won't be here if you weren't strong enough to face it. This perspective doesn't deny the discomfort you endure. It only asks you to look beyond it and consider how it can teach you, how it can change you. Practice seeing beyond the physical reality of things. There is always some kind of nectar buried beneath the sludge. And use this realization to expand your trust in life, especially if you find yourself in trying times. Okay. So we're learning to be courageous, to persevere through life's obstacles. So this is a higher velocity of pressure. And I feel like this is you're growing into someone or have grown into someone who can fulfill this challenge. This is like coloring outside of the lines. This is like taking employment or seeking employment that is unconventional. This is standing in your truth, what it really means to stand in your truth. And I think in modern day society, I feel like that can be a super challenging thing, and it does feel like a mountain to climb because you're nonconformist, you're eccentric. You never did things like anybody else, and as is deepening, that energy is gaining momentum. Okay, so what's the next question is, how am I learning it? How do I go about learning such a thing? Fire, confident, optimism, passion, and bravery. Fire signs: Leo, Aries, Sagittarius. Being more playful. Let's see, what does it say about fire signs? You don't really have to describe fire signs as much, but that does represent a lot of passion, goal-getter, spirit, deepening your spirituality. It represents shrewd business. Fire signs represent a lot personally. So let's talk about it. Fire is the spark that starts all life, passionate and ever growing, as it's fueled by its own well of inspiration and fearlessness, optimistic force, with untiring faith in the vision it holds. It's the flame burning in a lighthouse window, a beacon in the night. The confidence of this element creates a wild spontaneity, freewheeling and untethered to the past, inherently creative as it moves towards what will be. Independent and generous, it gives with ease and fears no lack. Fire feeds upon itself for its own life-giving excelsior. When harnessed, this pure life force becomes creation. It's the passion, the beginning, the motivation, but not the executor. It lacks structure. With too much fire, nothing moves past the launch phase. alone, it's not a sustainable energy source, and running on fire can lead to burnout. It can be dramatic, unfocused, erratic, or destructive. Yet, too little fire and nothing begins. It's your drive to live, your urge to try. So the keywords would be like your inspiration, your confidence, bravery, spontaneity, optimism, creativity. The experiences will be connecting through warmth, generosity, and passion. So I would say keep an open heart through everything. And it goes back to that duality, that balancing of masculine and feminine energy. I think that would prevent a thing from being too little or too much. But the shadow side of it is impulsive, impatient, lacking follow through, right? So you want to make space for creativity and passion. Express freely without expectation through drawing, dancing, singing, or a deep belly laugh with a friend. It is no matter what the means is, the bliss light of fire in your belly brings you to your heart space. Do what makes you feel good. That's what it's saying. Nurture this connection to your uplifting, life-giving energy within. Remember how it feels, let it be your your guiding light as you move through the world. Your most vibrant life stems from heart, and you must practice joy to hear its rhythm. You have to. I think that talks about that Kundalini experience as well. But in this card, if you look at the card about laying foundations and about the divine plan, what it's telling me is you got to put some heart into what you're doing to make it work. But you can't be too excited, too impulsive. You don't want to burn yourself out. It's about balance. And I feel like this next card about Venus energy talks about that, because this is a person who probably, as a woman, she operates in her masculine energy. And now she's learning to operate in her Venus energy, her feminine energy, with that duality card there. This is great. So, where will the wisdom take me? Or take the person? Saturn and Capricorn rules that feel restricted, experience struggle, learn hard work and patience. So I feel like you're approaching a business idea with more passion and more discipline, more knowledge, more excitement, more enthusiasm. I think this is an unconventional business for someone or some people, man or woman. It doesn't matter. And I feel like this is something that you got to branch out of the neighborhood about, meaning mentally. You got to have an open mind. You got to have an open heart. And you got to have a fighter spirit. Because that's fire signs give me fighter spirit. They're warriors at heart. They go after what they want and they stop at nothing. And it can be a challenging situation, a mountain to climb, if you don't understand yourself as good as you should. Duality talks about misunderstandings as well. But if you look at the illustration, she has a skull, which is spiritual. She has a notebook. She's book smart and spiritual smart. And she's wearing a red dress. So I like that with the fire card. She's very passionate about both. But she could be misunderstood. This is somebody who could be called out their character, slandered, or called a witch, a prostitute, a hooker, anything other than what this person is, when this person can be somebody who's pious, humble, pray 5 times a day, go to work and come home, just spends very little time in large crowds, spends time with her family. But when people don't understand your character, or they don't connect with you spiritually, they tend to misunderstand you and they don't respect you. But with the passion and the fire, it doesn't have to be a challenging situation, only if you let it seep in. You don't let it put the fire out. You keep going. And Saturn, let's talk about Saturn. So Saturn is about karma. It's about work, hard work, a strong work ethic, building discipline. That's about career focus. without being too career obsessed. I think this is balancing. Be playful in your energy, but to be serious. Balance out being, you want to be in the moment. You want to be able to smell the roses and appreciate what you do for work. Saturn is the hard edge planet of tough love. In its realm, you feel an innate sense of lack, shortchanged, or even doomed. But through patience, self discipline, and hard work, it's also where you experience profound growth. This planet is expressed in mythology as Kronos, the old king linked to authority, tradition, and established institutions. He respects triumphs earned through persistence and measured time. So whenever Saturn touches feels broken, but these are restrictions. They're on an energetic training wheel, in place not to torture but to teach. You're given pain, which forces you to look at wounds and fears, and is pushing you to grow. And you're giving limitations, so you work methodically. Saturn illuminates the fractures your soul wants to recognize in this lifetime. And these faded wounds they need your sober attention to heal. So the energies is about restriction, scarcity, patience, time, hard work, tradition, authority figures. It's about like, what are you prepared to do to work through everything you feel like is causing you that's feeling like an upheaval battle for you. Like working at a desk job when you're traditionally an outdoors person. Like you're meant to be free. All good things are wild and free. You're not, just because you're a professional or you went to school for one specific trade, it doesn't define who you are. Experiences is about, it's about where you feel inadequate, where you experience oppression, where you learn is exactly where you are going to learn your persistence and self-discipline. It's like, what are you prepared to do to get out of it? Okay? Given all your knowledge and all your wit, you're going to use it to lay down the foundation and be in, balance out your masculine and feminine energy. You're also going to, it has to be something you enjoy, obviously. And I think that this experience for somebody has awakened them with that Kundalini experience. They have heightened nerves now. It's like, well, what am I supposed to do with this newfound energy? Like, is this for real? Like, am I supposed to be going through this? Yes. You put through it to learn and to grow and to go more in depth about yourself. You're not meant to be surface level. You're meant to be a balance of spiritual, a duality of ethereal and physical. So where in your life do you feel a sense of lack is the question. Where in yourself do you feel deeply insecure or inadequate? Your guides know the tender nature of these questions and remind you the truth of your soul is innately whole and unconditionally worthy. Yet, here on earth, human brokenness so easily hardens into shame. Can you shift your perspective and see any broken pieces as potential opportunities for growth? I see the Hangman. And the Hangman talks about seeing things from a different perspective instead of being stuck on that one way of thinking and that one way of doing things. Broaden your horizon. These fractures are perfectly designed by the all-loving universe, encoding with the medicine you need. Call on courage and commit to a healing path. Start by shining a light on the darkness within. What does it look like? Where does it come from? What do you see? This is the work from your soul you came here for, and alchemy is your birthright. So you have every right to walk through this thing called life, however, whomever, the way you choose. Citrine is about creativity, happiness, and manifestation. It's a beautiful crystal. It helps balance out your energies. And I think these crystals help calm your nerves, not to mention prayer. Meditation and prayer are different. Prayer is that intimacy and that spiritual, that one-on-one intimate conversation with the Most High. And meditation is pondering on what you want. That's why I heard a meditation, a positive affirmation, a meditation, but I also heard a Quranic verse of, out the holy book. So there's a balance of both. You can't do too much of one over the other. Likewise, if you're just like you're a person who's religious, being just a prayer person is perfect. Like you can't go wrong with just praying. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you're a person who doesn't make the effort, I feel like meditation comes with making the effort and bringing into fruition what you want. Like you already spoke to the Most High about it. Now make the effort, because He doesn't change the condition of the person until they make the effort to change it themselves. And that's a balance of both being religious and as well as spiritual. And your rainbow obsidian is about evolution, hope, depth. There's always light at the end of the tunnel. And doing stuff you love, your heart's desire, that's what you deserve to do. And I feel like with this pandemic, more people are coming into fruition about who they are and what they love to do. I feel like this pandemic is creating a lot more millionaires, at least, or better. And I say better, I mean go higher. You don't have to stop at being a millionaire. It's going to come a point in time where the value of money is going to change so much that being a millionaire is not what being a millionaire used to be. It's going to look like a welfare check to be a millionaire. You're going to have to be a trillionaire. Lepidolite. It's about transitioning. Alchemist that ugly energy or where you feel like you're stuck and change it. Just say to yourself, what don't you like about your life? Pray about it and go ahead. Bring it into fruition. This is the watermelon tourmaline. Love, balance, clarity. It's pretty. And the last one is fluorite. It's clear, getting clear on what, reprioritize your whole life and organize your thoughts and set boundaries. Okay? Because what they both have in common, prayer and meditation, they make your mind strong. They use those muscles because you have to have a vision. Even though you can't see the Most High, He can see you. That's how you're supposed to pray. But you pray, you're using those muscles, that visual, what it appears like in your mind. What does it feel like to you? So that's the lesson for today's soul growth. This is something I want to keep doing because I think it's very interesting. It's thought provoking, and it invokes critical thinking. It's something a lot of our children struggle with because they suffer. They don't do that for our babies, but we have to do it. Because we know how to do it, our babies are not without. No matter what the politics are with schooling nowadays, how they took so many different programs away from our children. None to worry, because we all have our own creative way of keeping our minds sharp. Especially people in my generation. We were big readers and writers. And this is a way to do that as well. People look at these cards and it's like, where's the devil at here? Where? It's not telling you nothing wrong. It's teaching you how to get in touch with yourself. So you can be a better version of yourself. You don't have to be somebody who speaks of ignorance. You can never be ignorant with an open mind because you're always learning. So I hope this is going to serve somebody. I believe this is going to serve somebody well. It's something to think about while you're transitioning. You're trying to live this thing called life. A lot of fire, a lot of passion, Okay. I'm going to come back tomorrow with another reading like this and see how we do. And keep practicing it and see how we do. Okay, take care.